Okay, can you tell me your name, please?
Beth Vesco-Mock, Executive Director of the Animal Service Center of the Mesilla Valley.
Okay, and that's the shelter for all of Doña Ana County, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, and so you gave a presentation that showed quite an improvement in the numbers of animals being euthanized and other improvements at the shelter. Can you maybe give a little overview as to
the intake is down to right below 12,800 animals. We're just below that number, and we only euthanize around 5,500 animals, which came out to be about a 42.6%. That's the lowest euthanasia rate since they've started keeping records back in the 1980s, from what I have researched and discovered. We are euthanizing about 5,000 animals less per year than we were 5.5 years ago when I arrived. It's a very exciting time that we are being able to save more and more animals, and we are able to have more live releases. That's what I'm going to start focusing on. The euthanasia rate is going to start changing. I'm going to start focusing on live releases, because that is going to be how we really want to talk about it.
What's the difference between those two measurements in terms of
euthanasia?
Are they comparable?
Well, it does. It equals out, but it's a more positive and more progressive way to look at things. The live releases is heartbeats in versus heartbeats out. And that's what we want to look at. So it's all the animals who's been adopted, who's been rescued, and returned to owner. And the euthanasia is obviously the ones that we kill.
Okay. And so
there are also natural deaths that occurs at the shelter, and they're not included in either one of those numbers.
Okay.
So that's another thing that is occurring.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Or maybe if an animal is alive but injured.
Right. Well, we repair that a lot of times, but sometimes they do die on their own, unfortunately. We're trying to work on that number.
Okay. And so it sounds like there's been a lot of ground that has been gained, but there's still a ways to go.
We have a long ways to go. We can't sit here and pat ourselves on our back and say it's all good, because it's not. We had 5,000 animals die last year. What I consider our counterpart in Prescott, Arizona, very similar sized community, he killed 104 animals. I do that in a week. It's like we have a long ways to go. We're not there.
Yeah. And do you expect, there have been some revisions to the pet ordinances lately?
Yes,
and there's
I
one
do think it's going to help. Everybody's going to have a microchip. That's critically important to get your animal back to you ASAP. We're really focusing on spaying and neutering. That is critically important. We must have that done. We really must get that done. So I think it's going to help. It's all of those things. I think Doña Ana County is one of the last counties to ever get pet licensing. I don't know of any county that doesn't have pet licensing.
Sure. Okay. And in terms of, I guess, what else? I think you're talking about there's still a need for more awareness, more responsibility.
Well,
in the community.
absolutely. Obviously, we still had nearly 13,000 animals come into the shelter. That's still unacceptable numbers. We need to get those numbers down into the 6,000 range. So yes, we have a lot more education to do. We have a lot more public awareness going on. Yes, we have a long ways to go, but we're getting there. We're seeing, we're finally able to see a light at the end of the tunnel. Before, we were still around the bend. We didn't even see the light.
Oh, sure. Okay. And this coming year, what do you see as the major areas where you will have to make strides?
We need to make strides in adoptions. We need to continue the large influx of adoptions, rescues that's going out. And we really need to focus on getting more spays and neuters done.
Okay.